Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on February 17th at 2023 at approximately 4:20 p.m. PST. Now, I returned to this world for one primary reason, and that is to remind people that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. I bill myself as a spiritual guide because the tools I offer are the same tools I personally use in my day to day life. And the philosophies of life I actually talk about are the ones I personally live by. This is not a question of you should do this because I'm going over here to do my thing. Okay, this is literally the way I live. Now, just wondering, of course, get on a roll like that and then completely forget where I'm standing. So, that is what we require. Let's recycle. Shadow, how you doing? And you're, whoops, not a problem there, Shadow. I'm already here. And you did come in with the gold this time. And Kimberly, you're in with the silver. YJ coming in hot behind her with the bronze. The reality of it is we are looking at a world that is absolutely imperative, in my opinion anyway, that we change the gear it's on. The direction it's going is just not working all that well. Now, is this what I'm working with? Yes. That's the one. Oh, there we go. Finally came up, so it'll come on and let me know. Now, this is where I tell you I'm really feeling kind of stupid and dense because I procrastinated so long, hoping that corporations would actually do what they were saying. Now, this is my personal experience. Hey, little Katie, welcome aboard, and you come in with the honorable mention. Joe, how you doing? Hope things are going better for you. Hopefully, your day has been going well. I spent I spent thousands, and I'm sure some of you have done the same thing. Spent thousands of dollars or hours of time hoping that a corporation that said they were going to do something did. Okay, now I was with one corporation that, I kid you not, I really was dense enough to stay with them for 5 years. In those 5 years, they sold a total of 5 books. Now, since I fired them and took over marketing myself, which, by the way, not a professional marketer by any means, but in the last week and a half, I've actually sold 4 books already. Now, this is in a week and a half as compared to 250 weeks. Now, maybe I'm onto something here. I don't know. Okay, but I have made some miscalculations, obviously. But the question that I'm asking at this point is, in your eyes, do you feel you have the ability and the drive to make your dreams a reality right now? Now, that does not mean get them all the way to the end. It means get started on them. Okay, so let's see a show of hands, in all caps here, guys. Okay, who here has a dream in your heart that you have been procrastinating, hoping that the timing was right, or going, I've been told I don't have the ability. So you put it off and it drifted into the annals of time. Okay, most of you are in that boat. Okay, I'm absolutely certain of it. Now, in my case, I finally reached a point where it was like, okay, I've looked into a number of things, and let's see that. We are up and running on the upper deck here. And I don't need the backline. There we are. Now, I know I postponed things and procrastinated. Well, I've come to the understanding that there is only one way this is going to work. Okay. Nice, YJ. We'll try English. That worked out well. Best of luck with you with that. Okay. Now, I will tell you, from my standpoint, survival gear is knowing who to call. Okay. And no, it is not the Ghostbusters. But I've got a friend who is a natural born survivalist. So, if things go to heck in a handbasket, okay, I'm looking at one very simple issue. Get to this guy's place because I know my family and I will be a lot safer with him than we will without. Okay. But when we start looking at survival, okay, that's where this came in. This funny little book here. World goes to heck in a handbasket, and this small little group of people get together to work as a unified front to make the world a better place, even in spite of all the chaos going on. Okay. Now, I was really happy this morning. Okay. When I woke up this morning, cleared all my excess emails out of the way, and then I turned around and hit refresh, and all of a sudden I've got book orders. Well, I was happy. I was really happy. They came in, so I filled the book order out. And the post office was open. So much as I give myself 3 business days to get to get a book out, it was out the same day. This is what I prefer if I can swing it. Okay, but the question you've got to ask, you've got a dream, you've got a goal. Do you have the drive, the focus, the ability to either accomplish the dream on your own or draw people to you that do? Okay. My father used to say very simply that the world would be a very boring place if everybody was exactly the same. Now, I'm looking at it from this standpoint. I've just found out, just this morning, the odds are, employment insurance, if anything, is not going to do me much good for very long. And it looks like medical disability is almost impossible to get if you're honest. Okay, so I'm looking at this going, okay, I either have to find a job, which quite frankly may interfere with the YouTube channel. It depends on what I'm working on. Right. Or I've got to get my book sales moving properly. Well, I've started doing the advertising in order to make this happen, but it's still going to take some time to build. However, every little bit will help. Now, if you're just joining me, if you're just joining us here, if you like the stream, do remember to hit the like button. And don't forget to hit the alarm so it lets you know when the next one's coming out. Okay, and absolutely, if you'd be so kind as to hit that neat little subscribe button, that'd be great. Okay, and then just share the daylights out of it. And in all fairness, from my standpoint, whether you like the people you share it with or you don't, either way works for me. Okay, now I've got my normal little list here of things I'll be adding to today when I get done this stream. Not the least of which I didn't get a chance to do them. Wonder if I'll be able to while I'm doing this. Oh, I did remember seeing something here. So let's just see if I can find it. Way back here. Poems. Yeah, I'm going back into my old file. Here we are. Oh, would you look at that? I told you I was going to do that sooner or later. This actually makes me very happy. This is called Going Off on a Sidetrack. Okay. Now, here I am talking about, do you have the ability and the drive to make your dreams a reality? Well, here's the thing. What do we got here, Joe? Joe's has just stated in here, I did a project today. This morning, it just took me a lot of coffee and supplements to get it done. Cleared out dead trees by myself half the day till my back was sore, then took a nap. I agree with you there, YJ. I was lucky, like YJ just said, sore is nice when you earned it. I wake up sore. I woke up really well this morning. My leg wasn't actually jammed. But here's one of those neat little things I keep telling you guys I'm going to deal with. Okay, that is a Muldock. This is one of the races that are going to be included in the second printing of Races of the Worlds. Okay, now if you've ever seen the ships or pictures of the ships that look like an old Roman Colosseum, those ships belong to these guys. Okay, but that's one of them. Okay, and these are, like I said, these are all pictures that I did manage to get run off. Now, this will give you an idea of what you're looking at. Now, we talk about why don't the off-worlders show themselves? Okay, well, picture this guy walking down the street. Now, we know that humans, that people get edgy when you see somebody tall. Okay, or when you see somebody that's a different color. Well, watch what happens if somebody like this shows up. Now, that is a chameleon. They are very closely and very similar in configuration to the largest of the Struzasians, to the drakes. Okay, now can you picture somebody like this walking down the street? Okay, and bear in mind, these guys pack energy weapons. Okay, then we have this neat little guy. Now this is an airborne annoyance. Okay, this is the Aurora that I've been talking about. And yes, if you play D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, it does look very similar to a wyvern. Well, only because it is. Okay. Oh, okay. I remember the picture. The odds are, and I don't have the picture printed off, but the odds are based on the top of that saucer there, Kimberly. Okay, that is likely Martokian. Now I do have the picture drawn out, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to fight around with it and actually get it to print. Right now, anyway. Okay. That's just terrible, Shadow. Martokians are actually really nice. The first Martokian I ran into him in Dairy Queen. Very nice people, a little tall, but the only disconcerting part really is they've got an odd gait because they've got a secondary knee. Okay, which puts them walking a little strange, but very nice people. Okay, now here we have the other ones. These are your Ararahar. Okay, and yes, the other name for those by your guys' definition is dragon. From the dwarvish dialect, you'd be called the Madar, and you would be calling them a Dargon. Okay, but these guys, not that nice to deal with if they're mad. Not a problem there at all, Kimberly. The other possibility, and I go by the upper deck because the bottom picture of that UFO. Okay, the bottom picture, you showed the lights being colored around the base of it. Now, the only ship that I know of that has oscillating colors on the bottom, okay, are the Talon, and the Talon are anything but nice, at least to me. Okay, Joe's just saying here, it was in the front of my house. I have sort of a swamp back there good for deer, but tomorrow I still have the project to do. I just think of something to keep busy, and that's all you really do on occasion. In my case, I end up with a little bit of a different run on it. Because I got so much on the go that it really boils down to deciding what is next. Now, here's another one of the people. Okay, those are your chameleons. Now, they are very similar in configuration to the smaller of the Tormenon. Okay, but like I said, I do have pictures sorted out of them. And now it's a question of just starting to make things happen. Yeah, Kimberly's just adding, when I was in the ship in 2012, the one alien looked human, but had one human eye and feline or reptilian eye. Okay. That, when you take a look at something like that, you're likely looking at a hybrid. Now, there are so many possibilities on that one. It's virtually anybody's guess exactly which one it was. Shadow, this is just terrible crossfire. You know that. So I am working on getting things organized to actually, and I will be, a couple of things I've decided to do is these pictures, as I get these pictures pulled together and started printing off, I will start looking at getting them set up as artwork that can be sold, as pictures that can be turned around and sold, books, coloring books, there we go. And of course, here's the thing. In the Yldrbac Chronicles, okay, these people, now some of you already have a copy of The Birth of the Wolfpack. Okay. And you'll find in The Birth of the Wolfpack, not a problem there at all, Kimberly. Glad to help. In The Birth of the Wolfpack, you see a couple of these guys walk through the door. Okay. Now, you got to remember, with the chameleon, the larger ones also have wings, much like the Tormenon. Of course, the thing there is the Tormenon, the chameleons, and the Sazosians all have a common ancestor, also known as the Drakes. Now, my goal was real simple. I desire to get all of this out in the open. Okay, what do I got here? Oh, yes. Forgot I had these ones in here. See, again, when I said I'm going to start putting things together, pardon the artwork on these ones. Now, you'll notice the difference. My artwork, okay, the Cleeclock, who you know is the Mantis, and my artist artwork of the chameleon. Now, which art do you think is better, mine or his? I'm telling you, if you tell me mine is, I'm gonna wonder what you're drinking. Okay, but I have started sketching out the different. I have started sketching out the different. Can we try English? Different ships, but I'm going to get those done up professionally as well. But these are all part and parcel of that major little goal that I've got on the go. That I've got moving in place. And Kimberly's just adding, in 2012 and 1978, one was chasing me, and I've lost time. The odds are, in all fairness, it probably caught you. The thing is, it's seldom that a person gets picked up only once. From my end, I'm now putting everything together, moving into overdrive to really get things done right. Okay. See, now this is just a terrible little sketch. That is a Mobian starship. Actually, in all fairness, it's a scout vessel for coming down into orbit. Can you picture being in one of these to travel all the way from the far side of the sun on the same orbit? I.e., well, if I remember my numbers rightly, from Earth to the sun is 93 million miles. Now, given these guys are in the exact same orbit, we're now looking at 186 million miles these guys would have to travel in. Now, this particular ship is only 2-man. Can you picture going on a drive that takes you that long? Okay, but what do we got here? Yeah. But when I look at this, I've got this massive project on the go, and I encourage you guys, if you've got a goal, if you've got anything that you've put on hold, either because you ran out of steam, ran out of money, ran out of support, it doesn't matter. Okay, I encourage you to pick up your tail feathers and get at it and get these dreams made. Turn them into a solid reality. Now, I got a whole pile of little notes and what have you, so I'm just going to put those back before they get out of hand. But this is what I was referring to about, do you have the drive? Now, I've had to put things together and really take a look at the whole outlook of it. Oh, I'm going to have to find out who those are. Just trying to get a file folded up. Okay, what do we got going on in here? Yeah, that would be the biggest challenge. You know, Kimberly's just saying finding a hypnotherapist that she can afford is a major problem. Now, I will tell you, do I do hypnosis? Honestly, not really. Okay, I look at people when I'm dealing with people. I do take a look at what they've been run into, but I do not do the hypnosis thing very often, and certainly not over the computer. I can see all kinds of problems there. Have I done it before? The answer is yes. But here's the thing in my case, whether I'm consulting, working on past lives, working on hypnosis, working on consultation and life direction, doesn't matter to me. I made it simple for myself, and $90 an hour. Okay, that's just the way I do it. And like I've mentioned, I simply charge, I get paid first, because way too many people that actually have the money have stiffed me over the years, and now I just don't bother. It just isn't safe. Yeah, the floating MRI that you're referring to, Kimberly, been there, done that. In my case, it was a case of them putting me on this floating table, doused in red light, and then they repaired my system. I'll tell you, they did a not bad job, but it has created its problems. But when you've got a goal, okay, that's not a bad idea there, Shadow. There's a lot of different ways that you can go back and look at your heart and look at what went on and piece it together. Because the reality is the memory is still there. Even if it's been covered over, even if you've misplaced it, the memory itself is still right there. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do here, just to get on track, is when I'm done, what am I going to do with it? Tonight, let's see. Tonight is the 17th. The really funny thing about tonight being the 17th is this morning when I got up, it was still the 17th. I don't blame you there, Kimberly. I'm a firm believer that, again, that you get somebody that you trust. Okay, somebody that you can relate to, that you know has been educated properly. Myself, I have been trained in quite literally nothing that I work with. Okay, I've learned it, quite frankly, the hard way. The difficult part about shifting gears with your life is figuring out not where you design is not where you are, but where you desire to go, and that's a gamble. Okay, so it really is time from that standpoint to look in the mirror and say, okay, I desire to really take a look at things and really get a handle on where I come from, what I can, what I was, what I am now, and then start moving forward. I will tell you from my practical experience, not knowing what all went on in the past. Hey Adam, how you doing? Glad you could join us. You know, and by the way, just in case you didn't get the email, I sent the books out, and then of course, as soon as I sent them out, I couldn't remember if I signed the send that said I sent you. So I got an extra guy. I signed a couple more and shipped them off right behind them. What they're doing is gravity modification there, Kimberly. It's from their standpoint, it's simple. From yours, maybe not so much. But essentially, it's pretty much harmless. Now, I'm going to show you a picture, Kimberly, because this is one of those neat things that is kind of an intriguing. Like, have you ever, in all of the stuff you've been dealing with, have you ever come across a mark on your body that is three dots in an equilateral triangle with a flat bar across one corner, one edge of it? From my standpoint, we have to take a look at the way our life is going. That's not a problem. Sometimes, it depends on, and of course, when we're looking at that, the Martokians, on the whole, don't. Okay, Martokians are not known for tracking. Okay, at least not the ones I've been talking to. But I will tell you, they're one of the more relaxed of the races I've run into. Yeah, well, you gotta remember, you gotta remember one little detail there, Kimberly. When we're dealing with off-world technology, lasers are not just a weapon. Okay, because while you're seeing the light come to you, it's also returning. Okay, almost a photonic echolocation, if you will. And that may be all that you're dealing with from that end. Ultimately, it does with the Martokians, and this is why I say I'm a very strong believer that you're likely dealing with Martokians. Because I'll tell you, if it were the Talons, feeling like they were helping you is a real twisted stretch. Okay, now I've started moving things around and started redirecting. You'll notice I've got another shelf over here. Okay, that's because I need it out of the back room. And since this is this room is being converted back into a bedroom, figured I better start. Yeah, unfortunately, when you have complications, that can get to be a royal pain in the neck. They having to quit a job because your stress level gets too high because of whatever circumstance. Now, when you take a look at where your life is, one thing to really take a look at, guys, whether you've gone through this yourself or whether you've just heard about people going through it, it is up to you as an individual to go, am I going to pursue an understanding of this, or am I just going to let it go and carry on with life? And I will tell you, the massive majority of people, for a number of reasons, just simply carry on with their life the way it is. Okay, this is just the reality behind it. Now, I do feel for you, though. I definitely feel for you, though, Joe, where it comes to the PTSD. Okay, I used to suffer from it badly. However, I will tell you, for me, it worked in as much as I came to understand what went on, I was able to overcome a lot of that problem. This is, by the way, a major abnormality. I'm actually putting together a list. What did I do with it? I wonder. I can sit here or I can walk around in circles. No, I'm not getting up on a stool again. I did that already. Wasn't an enjoyable experience in my eyes. But let's see if we... Wait a minute. What is this? Nope, not that one. See, I realize you can't see it there, Kimberly. But there's the picture that you sent me. Right there. That's the ship. Okay, that you sent me the picture of. This is why I said I do have it floating around here. And don't need that one. This one, what is this? Oh, yes. This is the next book coming out. That's Return to Paradise. Okay, that's the next one in the Yldrbac Chronicles that's coming out. Now, both of those go over here. Art, Yldrbac. Goes there. And then we just go into what we've got. Straight art, and that goes into there. I was looking for something over here. And as far as a list that I've been working with, and not it. I really should get on the other aspect of this. So, the idea of turning around and going, okay, what am I going to get accomplished? How am I going to make it happen? But it requires getting organized. The whole, anytime you're going to change your life, it requires getting organized and staying that way. What's this? Oh, okay. That's all kinds of information. Oh, look at that. Well, we should pull that out. Since I'm standing here anyway. Ships. And the artwork from of those pictures I just finished showing you. Okay. Now they go way back in here. Art of Races of the World goes right there. Then what do we got? Gotta double check, make sure I've got that information in there. But for the moment, this can go where it belongs. And that's row. Okay, oh, look at that. The other ships. Talk about having too many things on the go, eh, guys? But like I said, if you're aiming at getting your world in order, it really is imperative to decide what order looks like. But that still goes down under road. But Races of the World, we'll pop that right in there, and we're good to go. Now, question for you. Have you figured out any goal that you personally would like to get accomplished? Yeah, that's the whole catch there, Joe. Everybody's experiences, and the thing is, when one person talks about what they've gone through, more often than not, it'll trigger a memory of somebody else. And before you jump on that, this does not mean that people are copying. And I've heard people accused of that. Now, oh, you're just saying that, you're just trying to make it sound like you've got something special going on. Okay. I'm just looking at the cross chatter going on in here. And, this is what I like about this particular chat room. What I'm seeing here is people helping people. That is the point here, is people helping people. I don't have all the answers. There are times when I wish I had more of them. But the fact that you guys are talking on a level that you guys can all relate to, this is the critical factor. Okay, and it's something that too many people overlook. Now, when you look at the goal you've got, okay, I'm presuming that you guys have a goal in mind. Okay, but what happens is we get an idea. I'd like to get this done. Okay. I'm just looking at this, Kimberly. I will tell you this. When anything drains your energy levels, it will cause an adverse reaction. Not so much a personality change as the cover or the self-control goes out the window. And you see another aspect of that person already there. Okay. But this is why I say no. I do have a question for you on that one, Kimberly, since you brought that kind of concept to mind. When, in your opinion or in your memory, did the people that did that to you, were they from that ship you sent me the picture of? Hey, Kara, glad you could join us. Oh, not a problem there, Kara. First rule of thumb: family, then work, then spare time. But I am glad you joined in. And remember, if you have a question that you don't get a chance to ask me here, look at the list of contacts below this video and drop me a line in any one of them, and I'll be more than happy to do my best to answer for you. Shadow, like I've talked to you a number of times, and I don't think you're ever going to grow up, as it were. You're likely always going to stay a kid. And the neat part about it is with your hobby, my hobby as well, okay, it does encourage you to maintain that child outlook, which gives you an idea when you look at some of what I write, just how twisted my childhood may have been. Okay, you're more than welcome there, Kira. The reality of it is this: we have a life right here. All the stuff going on out in the outside world, out in the cosmos, all the stuff taking place at different vibratory rates. It's all great. It's all a fantastic distraction. But we have to really anchor ourselves into the material world. Okay. This is where we are currently living. Okay. Now, obviously, I'm not going to tell you don't pay attention to the other world. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little biased. I've been there way too often. Yeah, shadow spirits, everything. If it causes stress, it's going to affect your self-control. It's going to create some complications with the way you're looking at the world. Okay, and this is something that by talking to each other, by finding support like I see people getting in this room, okay, by following that, by getting that kind of support, it will help mitigate the stresses. Shadow's just going, I have seen enough ugliness to know I want no part of it and help out where I can. I was told I'm supposed to actually spend more than 10% of my time in the material world. But I will tell you, doing the writing helps immensely. Now, I have to deal with. Matter of fact, that's what I was looking for there. I may just do it the other way, but let us. Ow, son of a beehive, that hurt. Hopefully, I didn't break that. I just stubbed my toe. Really, really bad. I'm having a really bad run of things, in case you hadn't noticed. Where did my list go? Have you noticed I'm running into more complications on occasion than I care to count? It's amazing that I haven't had more accidents in the car. But fortunately, that really hasn't been the way it's worked. And of course, what I'm looking for here, that's why. I'll have to sort that out afterwards. But, no, from my standpoint, it really boils down to this. I've been a working medium since I was born. Okay, and it really does change the way things are going. But if you feel, if you feel that you've got the ability to drive to make your dreams a reality, now is the time to get started on it. Because frankly, whether you postpone another day, another week, another decade, you're still going to be starting it now. Okay? Because you never start something in the past. Okay? You never start something in the future. It all happens right now. Okay, but it's up to you what you desire to work with. Okay, now what I've got to do is a couple of things I've got to get sorted out for tonight, before the end of tonight, just because I desire it that way. Okay. So we get the 5 races picked out for tonight and shipped off. See, I'm getting down to the end of the pictures, which is an excellent thing in my eyes. Then I have to finish Mist Vale Part 2, which is a section in. It's a section in the Yldrbacian Chronicles I'm working on. Okay. And then, of course, we have Return to Paradise I've got to work on. So I'll be writing most of my night tonight. I'll tell you, it gets really, being wandering around in the spirit world, much like wandering around in the grave, in the grave sites, is an intriguing way to spend an afternoon. In my case, I more live in the spirit world than I do in the material one. But this channel, this live stream and the writing I'm doing helps immensely in keeping me grounded. I'm finally, after literally years and thousands of dollars, I'm starting to claw back the investment and get the books out into the public eye. Okay. And for me, that's a pretty big issue. So whereabouts are you traveling through right about now, Adam? Oh, by the way, I gotta ask, because now I'm curious. What are you actually driving? Like, I realize you'll be trucking most of the night. I'm curious what your rig is. The thing is, I used to think, wouldn't it be nice to be a long haul trucker? I wouldn't have to deal with people. I could be on my own. And then it dawned on me. Number one, I will get lost faster than you can blink. And much as turning a car around doesn't take a lot of work, turning a rig around can be a royal pain in the neck. Oh, so you got all that wonderful snow at this point. So what are you running and what's your cab? Camworth International. I am not a trucker, by the way. There is a reason I'm asking. Okay. Other than just flat out being nosy. But you've got a job that so many people. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I forgot about it. See, I gotta remember which one. Okay, which one is actually what I'm looking for. I'm curious which of the big trucks, of the big rigs, has a flat grill. Like there's no real definition to it. It's just a flat grill. And yes, the reason I'm asking is because, well, I like when I'm writing, I like having a little bit of realism thrown in with it. To give it a recognizable front. What do we got here? Yeah, that makes sense. Nothing like having a whole pile of things to deal with. Mind you, if you can do several customers on one run, it's got to make the day run a little better. Hey Carl, how you doing? Glad you could join us. I'm looking at the world I'm working with right now, especially where it comes to writing. I'm in the process of having to build the whole thing back. Okay. Adam's just telling me here a flat grill would be a long-nosed Peterbilt, a Kenworth 900, or Western Star 4700. I thought the Kenworth had and this is where miscalculations come on my part. I thought the Kenworth had kind of an oddball nose to it. Where it basically, and I don't know if you can see this, but where it basically cuts down and you've got the wheels that are set out from it. I was wondering if it might be just looking back up here because I think you mentioned it. Yeah, I'm wondering if it's not the Freightliner, but Joe, the only UFO encounter, Joe says the only UFO encounter I've heard of was from family back in 2002. My aunt's boyfriend sleeping in a cabin, Pine Coating, Michigan. A big red light shot through the roof while he was sleeping. And there's a number of things that can cause that, but it can be. Oh, okay. I appreciate that there, Adam. I'm going to be eventually looking for a model to build just on the physical side. But the reason I've been asking Adam is because of one neat little thing with the Yldrbac Chronicles. There is a vehicle, and then one of the rigs, also known as the Tarmac Terror, is a vehicle built for war. Okay, it's built to make people edgy. And then of course we have the ogre. But throughout the series, throughout this trilogy, we've got gamers, we've got rig runners. Okay, we've even got some of the biker gangs floating around. I'm looking at this major change that we've got to do. Now you can keep your life going the way it is. That is entirely up to you. And most people get really sidetracked looking at what they wish could have happened or hoping somebody else will sort it out. Now I'm here to tell you, I tried that for a while. It has not worked. About 2 weeks ago, I started finally doing even a remote modicum of promoting. Okay. And now it's time to get down to work. Because I tell you, 2 weeks and I sold more books in the company that I paid thousands to do it. Really, really pathetic on my standpoint. And in all fairness, I should have done something about it. Now, I know there are some of you have a real strong creative side. Okay. And I'm telling you, find something that you can do that really does catch your heart, that catches your attention. That's what you focus on, because that's where you're going to find the most amount of happiness you're going to have. Yeah, can't do that. Take my glass off, can't see a thing. Well, I will tell you, Kimberly, you remove 2 retinas and you're going to have a problem. Well, that's excellent there, Kimberly. That's one of those projects that I'm actually working on myself. I've got a number of poems that I've written, number of poems, number of songs. Now, in all fairness, the songs I've written are not English. Okay. But anytime you can access that creative side of your mind, it will help balance the point between the rest of your brain. Because you've got to be operating on the emotional side, on that creative side, as well as on the logic base. I know when I had my retina damaged, I did it real quick, real clean. Took a trailer hitch to the eyeball, and I'll tell you that made a mess. Ouch. I was just saying, I enjoy my job. It did feel weird at first pulling a pike, being over 120 feet long with 3 pivot points. Yeah, Kimberly, it was ouch. I bent down. I stepped on one end of a 2-wheel trailer. My little brother stepped on the other end, and the trailer hitch caught me in the middle. But I will tell you this, Kimberly. There's a book out called The Bates Method to Better Eyesight Without Glasses. It's the one that I used. It's the one I stumbled across that helped me take my eyes from the point of holding my glasses right there, basically about a foot and a quarter away from my eyes. I physically couldn't see them. I got a hold of that book and followed what they suggested. I now have, where it comes to reading, 20/20 eyesight. Everything else, not so much. Okay. Kimberly, just a thought. I was told I'd be dead. Do not do not accept that your eyes cannot heal. Okay, just do yourself a favor and don't. If we buy into the idea that we will not heal, then in all fairness, you won't in all likelihood. The only and that is an excellent way of looking at it. The one suggestion I would personally make is enhance that from it's healing to it is healed. But healing works quite nicely because they're always evolving. Okay. And everything I'm picking up says you're going to get pretty much your full eyesight back. It's just going to take a little time. Okay. But absolutely keep focused on that concept that they are healing. Okay. By doing that, you will end up in much better shape in the long run. See, I take a look at where my life is and go, okay, I've got a number of things I've got to get organized. Okay, I've got to get Races of the Worlds, the second printing, and I've already talked to my artist. As soon as we get the last of those done, we start in on the pictures for Races of the Worlds Volume 2. Okay, and again, this is just one of those goals that I'm looking at going, how do we make all of this happen? I was really, really happy when I found out, because I went to get my Mr. Dreamcatcher reprinted. Went to get that reprinted, and it turned out really nicely. When the printer didn't have the copy, I happen to have it in an old file. It is now where I can easily find it. Okay, so now it's a question of starting to get things moving. And of course, I don't know if I'll be doing it tonight, but if not, I'll be doing it in the morning, and I'll be doing it tomorrow, and start posting some of the other books I've got. Not the least of which is The Birth of the Wolfpack. The reality of it is, I relied on way too many people that claimed they would do something to help, and in all fairness, just flat out didn't. Okay, so I mean, from my standpoint, that's annoying, but I can either hang on to that annoyance, or I can go, okay, I made the mistake. I should have been much more on top of things. Okay, and this is why I put that in there. Take a look at yourself. Do you have the ability to attain your dreams? For instance, there's one dream I had. Well, that I've got. I have a very specific building in mind. I am not a carpenter. Okay. And to build just one room of the building, which when I've got the cash flow, I will, just simply because I choose to. Okay. I've already got it designed in my own head. I'm going to be taking measurements and what have you, so I can draw up not exactly a schematic. Okay, that will have to be somebody else. But it's going to cost a small fortune. Because not only do I intend on building the building, I intend on furnishing it in the same way. Yeah, and don't forget, something to keep in mind. I do agree with you there, Kimberly. Something to keep in mind there, Joe. You said you've never seen a UFO. Have you ever seen a starlit sky? Where while you're watching the stars, they blink out and then come back on a short time later. Like if you've got a star sitting there, okay, and all that happens is it blinks out of existence and then comes back in. Have you ever seen an event like that or an appearance like that? It's just something to think about. Yeah, no doubt. Shadow's just going autocorrect, my arch enemy. There are so many times that autocorrect, frankly, doesn't work. I mean, it autocorrects it, but it's kind of like telling somebody that they're saying something else. Yeah, Adam, you're looking at, in all likelihood, depending on the size of the display stars, will tell you if they're blinking out one at a time, okay, and then blinking right back in like really quick. You may well be looking at, though it's unidentified, you might be looking at bats going by in the night. However, if you're looking at whole fields disappearing, for an extended for a period of time, and then coming back on, like I said, you've got the light, right? And you've got the light going, and then all of a sudden it disappears for a while and then pops back into existence. See, all I've done is run something across in front of it. Now, if it's a short thing, if it's just a quick blink, one star at a time sort of thing, you might be looking at a night denizen. Like I said, bats are the most common. They're out hunting for bugs, mosquitoes, flies, whatever's available. Unless you're in Australia, where I swear they're big enough to start looking for, they're big enough to start looking for, cats and small children. You know, I've seen this. I think it was in Australia that I saw a picture of it. There's a bat there that they showed with a wingspan of 5 feet. Now I don't know about you, but that's a bat that's a little big for me. Okay, I always find that a bat that you can fly and that you can ride might be a little bit extreme. Which reminds me, thank you so much for that. Actually, you guys don't know what I'm referring to. The thing is, take a look at the project you've got. Take a look at the goal that you've got that you've been sitting on. It's time to decide you're going to work on it. Okay. Now, I've been racking off. I left them up front, of course. That figures. Do I have any down here that I've been working on? Not really. These are oh God, bring him back. Why don't we do that? Bring this one back over here and get part of him done. But in order to do that, I need the Tucson red, not the bright red. That doesn't work. Tucson red. Again, this boils down to an issue of having a project that I really desire to get finished and get working on it. Well, that boils down to doing one thing. Going, this is what I'm doing. Just looking for a paintbrush here. There we go. Now I'm sitting here talking to you. I've got the other thing I can do. Yeah, I don't sit down a lot. It's funny. I used to, I was sitting down all the time, and I do it for 2 or 3. The idea there, Shadow, is yes. And by then, I should have him almost completed. But where are you run off to here? Oh, I'll definitely go and eat dinner. Yeah, that's something I have to do as soon as I get done here. Is get dinner on the table, because I don't know about you, but I get really off kilter if I don't get something to eat. So I'm looking at this whole thing going, okay, if you've got a project, pick one aspect. And now, I don't have a project, but this funny little mechanism here, this guy, is actually a mechanical dragon. Okay. Now, the dangerous part about that is that there are creatures that actually fit that bill. Okay, so all I'm doing here is just getting started on clearing that side of it up. Again, it's one of these projects I kept putting off, and now I finally decided it was time to really get started on tying them off and getting them done properly. But when you've got a goal, when you've got a project you've been putting off, now is the time to really start looking at and go, okay, what exactly am I aiming at accomplishing? And do I have the self motivation, the self drive to complete the goals I've laid out? Now, I know in my case that's very much an issue that I don't really have. I've got the drive. I just have a tendency of going in multiple directions at the same time, which, by the way, doesn't always work as a good way to organize. Hey, Carlino, glad you could join us. The reality is life is taking a change for the better. I know people talk about how bad life is and how bad it can get. But here's the reality from my end. It can get worse. However, Am I going to rely on it getting worse, or am I going to fear it getting worse? Not much point, because I can't do much with it anyway. So I'm looking at it going, okay, I've got these neat little projects I'm working on. Let's get a few of them racked off so that I don't have quite as much of a problem. Okay, I mean, that's just the reality behind it. We have to take a look at our own life and go, are you actually content with where your life is? Are you content with the path you've been following? And if not, are you willing to put your back to the wall and really make that change so you can attain the goals that you've already set in motion? I was literally asked that same thing today. I've got issues, I've got complications, but I decided I was going to make my world a much better one, effective immediately. It is going to take time. Do not kid yourself, people. The reality of it is, in order to make your world better, you have to be willing to take the negative past and put it to rest. The other thing that is absolutely critical is that you have to be willing to look in the mirror and go, that's my doing. As I told my brothers this morning, when they were overlooking at what was going on, they asked if I was upset with them, and I said, heck no. I said, the reality is that the only person I can functionally be upset with for what I haven't done is me. The only person that you can functionally blame for anything that you're falling short on is frankly you. Have you picked yourself up? Have you actually looked in the mirror and gone, I'm not content with this aspect, so I'm going to change it? Because the reality is, if you do not make the change yourself, the odds of you actually changing your life are not good. Okay. Now, I do have a very bizarre question for the bunch of you. Okay. Because it's worked out really well where it comes to asking you guys for input. Where it comes to topics, is there any topic that you guys would like me to get into? Okay. Anything at all. I don't care what it is to speak of. Well, that's not entirely true. There are certain topics I will not voice my opinion on because the odds are I'll get banned off the site. And I'm just not interested in doing that. But when it comes to different topics, okay, are there any in particular that catch your attention? Because so far, the ones that you guys have come up with have been absolute blockbusters in my eyes. Okay, I mean, yes, I can certainly tell you that we've got to make things happen. The reality is, if it doesn't catch your attention, it's not going to change anyway. This is just the sad reality of life. That would be the biggest thing I'm looking at. What do we got here? Okay, I'm just going to make a list here. This is where I put this out of the way. I'm just literally writing this down right now so I can actually get to it. Now, do understand, we have ghosts. When Kimberly's going, ghosts, UFOs, aliens. Now, the conspiracies, I don't know what conspiracies are out there. Like I've said, personally, I am not versed in a lot of the research. I just don't do it. I've got my viewpoint on it. Okay, but conspiracies, there's the issue of time travel and different dimensions. So I think what I'm going to start doing here is looking at that. Hey, Nightmare, glad you could join us. You're early today. This is a good thing. Time travel was different dimensions. Yeah, all I do is take a look at what I'm seeing, and I am making a note of these so that I can start dealing with them. Okay, and why don't we do this? Like I said, you guys have been phenomenal for perfect, Kimberly. What do we got here? Different healing modalities. Like I said, I'm just marking these down because that way I can actually get organized on them a little. And I suspect if I'm a little more focused, it'll make it a little easier to track. Because I'll tell you, there are days when I get started on something and all of a sudden it's gone that way, which is great on one hand. On the other hand, it doesn't accomplish a whole lot. So, why don't we take a look at something here? I just got to walk over here to my calendar. And today is the 17th. Where is it? Okay. I'm looking at this list and it got real big really fast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, I'm only doing this 6 days a week right now because, frankly, the reality behind it is that 6 days a week, it does work quite nicely. I'm just not giving up my gaming day. Unless I have to, if I have to go and find a job. And we'll see how that pans out. I got a few months to work with. But I do think what we're going to do here, that's not a bad idea. So I've got a whole list here that's just been put in the chat room. I think what I'm going to do is I might just well start at the top of it. And tomorrow, now I'm going to be here for a while. Okay, I'm not even close to the end of the day today. But tomorrow being the 18th, we will take a look at ghosts. Okay, now before anybody jumps on that too far, I'm going to be looking at ghosts in general. What they are, what we know about them, not specific who's the ghost that is in this particular event or this particular report. Because I don't research them. Okay. I will tell you, if I ever had the chance to stay at the what the heck is that? There was a phenomenal the Amityville Horror. From my standpoint, there's a neat place to spend the night. Okay, of course, I look forward to confusing the ghosts. I've done that more often than I care to count, but we will take and that one absolutely. And this is why I'm putting this. Whoa. What do we got here? Kimberly's got the law of attraction listed here. Now, these may not come out in the order they've been listed. Okay, but we can safely say I will cover them. Because I'll tell you, having a topic to start with does help. Okay. This is one of and of course, the other thing I will be doing is I will end up leaving the door open on one of the days and just go, I'm not putting a topic here. Okay, and leave it complete free run, as it were. Because as long as I can do that and people can get some sort of insight. What do we got? Crystals, meanings of how. I'm still looking for my book. The sad part there is I know some of it, but crystals, I get along well with the Vulcans. Of course, do understand Vulcans are a crystalline race. They are not, by the way, like Gene Roddenberry painted with the Vulcans of the original Star Trek. Vulcans are not green-blooded. Well, in a nutshell, they're not blooded. Okay. And it's very much the same as when it comes to crystals. One thing I will tell you about crystals is those things actually talk to each other quite nicely. The other part of that is that they can be programmed to do just about anything. Far better than kids in a lot of ways. Try programming a kid or a new employee to do what's necessary. Doesn't always work out that well. But no, I'm making a list. The crystals can be programmed. The one thing that I will tell you, where it comes to Vulcans are actually from, they are another race, but they are from this solar system. Okay, not from an exploded planet. They're actually from a planet inside the sun, in this sun's photosphere. Okay, and it really is one of these issues that we have to take a look at. All of these things are areas that people really, really do require, because all of it is interconnected. And that's where most people run into the bind. Is we're taught, people talk about things being interconnected. There are two types. Like Kimberly's just asking, are there lion type aliens? And the answer is yes. I'm still trying to get somebody to give me an actual name. But for one set. But the Therianthropes, which are lichen based. Okay, that's only one group of them. Okay. As near as I've been able to piece together, they actually come out of Lyra. Okay, and they are completely maimed. Very much, and they are in book 2, by the way. Actually, the Therianthropes are in book 1. But I am adding the other ones, the extensions on the other ones, as well. But yes, there are the lion type are a Therianthopic, and like I said, as near as I piece together, they come straight out of Lyra. Okay, complete with manes, fangs, claws, the whole 9 yards. They are, however, humanoid. Okay, and much as they are a predator race, that does not mean they are volatile. Okay, but yes, they definitely exist. And no, they are not per se shapeshifters. Okay, they just happen to have an appearance that is very reminiscent to Terran lions. Okay, now at the same time, you've got other ones, other feline races. The Lemurians are not Terran based. Okay, they are a completely different race altogether. Okay, also really, really nasty. Okay, if you ever end up in a fight. Okay, there are a couple of others, and I keep coming across more and more of them. Okay, because this is a massive time of change right now. Okay, and it's one of these. Oh, what do we got? And Kimberly's just added, oh, wait a minute, what about shapeshifters? And this is why I've got this neat little notepad. Because I think what I'm going to do is, put them down. But if I don't get them listed, what ends up happening, like if I don't keep it a little flexible, what ends up happening is it will get lost in the list. But yeah, I mean, we're looking at, what do we got now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 9 on our list, and I've got a couple of others I've got to add here myself. Okay, I know that, and Shadow's not in the room now. Yeah, that's one that has to be constantly brought up. I mean, the obvious answer there, Kimberly, how can we bring peace to the world? Well, the reality of it is this. People can bring peace to the world by starting to treat each other as they desire to be treated. And here's a novel concept: put the guns down, put the blades down, quit swinging first and asking if the guy's friendly second. I mean, that's putting it overly simplified, because we also have to remember, first and foremost, the human race was built for war. Okay, and what do we got here? Meditate. We can work ways to meditate. That is okay. Now, like I said, I've moved Ghost into Saturday's Run right off the bat. Okay, how they fit in, whether or not they can, whether or not on the whole they are problematic. Okay, and why they're there at all. Because the reality is, everybody living is a ghost in essence. Okay, you all have a soul that is non-corporeal. Okay, but most people don't quite realize that not only do they have one, but every single thing in existence that is living does have a soul, and they all end up going the same place. Now, I know there's, and that's one we can look at. What is beyond the white light? Now, I know a lot of people that have gone, I saw the white light and then I came back. I went way past seeing the white light. I went way beyond it onto the other side of the bin. So let us take a look at what is beyond the white light. Okay. Now, I do want to make sure that we do focus on one very big factor here. Okay. And that is, there's all this stuff out there, but we've got to keep our focus on the overall, on the concept that we can work together by communicating, by improving the way we actually interact. We can actually clear out a lot of the mess that we've been dealing with. But it is going to take some work. And in case you haven't noticed, it's not going to be an easy job. Because way, way, way too many people look at the world going, it's not my fault. We're going to blame the government. We're going to blame the elites. And, I'm done with the blame game. I told my brothers when I was talking to them this morning, like I told them, I could look at everybody else and continue doing it and continue going, oh, it's all somebody else's fault that my life is a mess. Okay. I absolutely could keep doing that. But can anybody give me a rational reason why I should bother? Like why I should bother blaming other people. The reality is I'm the one that didn't act in time. Okay, for whatever reason, whether it was because I didn't and because I kept putting it off, which is more often than not what the case was. Okay, or is it a question of I didn't have the support that I required, or at least the support I thought I required? Now, I tried that route, and I have spent literally thousands of dollars trying to get things organized so that I was actually making headway. Well, it wasn't until I took it back into my own hands and went, I'm making this happen one way or the other. Okay, and it's the same with you. Like, I've got this whole list, like, this will keep me going for a couple of months. What have we got? I was going to say a couple of months, but no, we're looking at days. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, yes. And we definitely want to have at least one open. Okay. What I'll probably end up doing as far as open topic goes is I'll probably end up doing that on the Sundays, simply because of the fact, as a matter of fact, that's the best time to do it, because I game on Sunday morning, and it saves me having to make certain that I get things organized early. So it really does boil down to, how are we going to change this? Are we going to continue giving our power away, giving our ability away to cope with things in favor of telling somebody else they're the ones that can do it? Okay. Any communication gap I've ever seen, over 100,000 clients over the course of my lifetime, I have never seen a variation. Okay. Every single one I've seen has been a 50-50 problem between the parties. Now, I know that's hard to swallow. Okay. And very few people actually want to. But that's just the reality of it. Absolutely, it does. Okay. I figured that out. I came across that little concept years ago. Yeah, we can wait and try and turn it all from here. And this is why I say, if you like the channel, if you like my channel, do subscribe to it and share the daylights out of it. Because the more people that we can get, and I'm going to call it this way. This is going to sound really, really bad. But let's take a very negative connotation and put it on something positive. Let's start a pandemic of one person helping the next, and so on and so on and so forth, and you get the picture. Okay, if we can start a disease of happiness and really screw things up for the disease, for the people in misery, screw it up as in give them something to look forward to. Okay, that is, in my opinion, the best gift we can give to the world at large. Leave this place in better shape than it was in when we got here. Now, of course, I could do the old-fashioned thing. Okay, guys, let's see a raise of hands. Who's up for the challenge of really taking a look at the world and going, we're changing it. We're not settling for second best. We're no longer settling for being trod upon by everybody and everything. Okay. Like, from my standpoint, I'm looking at it going, I could go back into the hole in the wall and I could quite effectively hide. But thanks to the support I've gotten from you guys and the encouragement I've gotten from you guys, hate that word, thanks in no small part to that, I'm actually able to look in the mirror and go, I'm changing my life now for the better. I'm going to land on my feet one way or another. Okay. And if that requires getting assistance from other people to help, I absolutely will. The one thing that I will tell you, if you're ready to change your world and make your dreams a reality, here's the best thing I can suggest. Take a look at whatever you're looking at. Okay, whatever it is that's going on, and ask yourself, is this helping me attain that dream? Is this helping me bring peace to my world? Never mind the idea of bringing peace to the entire world. How about if we concentrate on bringing peace to your guys' world on an individual basis? Because if we do that, the side effect is it will reach out, it will cause a trickle effect, or it will cause a shockwave, and the world will start to get along. Okay, 2,000 years ago, a chap showed up on Earth and went, "Hey guys, novel thought. Let's be nice to each other." Okay, and as you can see, that didn't work out all that well for that person. Okay, but I'm telling you, I came back here for a very simple reason. Okay, and that is to literally remind people that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. And by the way, that is not relegated to just males, just females. Only the whites can have the capacity to do this. Only the yellow race can alter the course of history by bounding together. Only the East Indians are capable of understanding the concept of family. Okay, I'm telling you, you've all got it in you. Okay, every one of you does. It's a question of whether or not you want to let it out. I appreciate that, Kara. The reality is, hey, hot dang, Joe, that is the best news we can get for you. That is fantastic, Joe. That's got to be a load off your shoulders. Not to mention your heart, your chest, the whole 9 yards. Okay. Now all we gotta do is get you back on the energetic level so you can get up and do the things you really, I understand what being told that sort of thing. I understand how devastating that can be. Okay. Never had to go through it myself. Okay, and I'm just not going to go through that myself. I'm just refuse. Cancer is one of these things. They had the cure for it decades ago. Okay, but I could not be happier for you, Joe. I don't think, anyway. In fact, quite often, I don't think. I have a tendency of opening my mouth, put my foot in it all the way to the hip, and then trying to figure out how to get the other one in there with it. Now, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it has proved to be a thing. But no, Joe, I mean, I'm so glad that you shared that with us. And I'm pretty certain everybody that's reading that in the chat room, that Joe has come up clean as far as cancer goes. Yeah, I don't doubt it was a long day. But I will tell you, Joe, the one nice little part about it is it's a long day. Now it's a long day in the past, and you can get on with doing whatever it is you want to do. I'd recommend avoiding another cancer scare. Okay. Joe, you're not dead. You're not out of the woods. Okay. I mean, my doctor when I had the stroke couldn't figure out why my eyesight was getting better. And like I told somebody just the other day, the doctors I've had to deal with wouldn't know a hangover from a head and from a hangnail. But the fact that you've come up and it's come up clean has got to be a phenomenal weight off the shoulders. There is no point in suffering through that again. Yeah. Somehow that doesn't surprise me though, Joe. Joe's just going, I'm not out of the woods yet, but I like the woods I'm in. It's like I tell people when they say, what do you want to be called? I'm like, well, you can call me pretty much anything. I've been called a lot. And some of it was actually repeatable in life in polite company. I'm not entirely certain if I'm permitted in polite company on occasion, but what the heck? See, this is what's called a first coat. And now I've got the top of the wings, the bottom of the wings. Yeah, that's it. Paint my kneecap. I always like that idea. And so we take that neat little thing and put it up there to just dry because, well, that's where it belongs. What have we got here? But no, I had a scare a little while ago. I noticed my left leg was really badly swollen. Really bothered me for a number of weeks. Until one day I woke up and I'm going to put my boot on going, I've had to fight with this for years. The leg being swollen is just a minor normality that I just didn't notice. How you doing, Dogface? Glad you could join us. Oh, no apologies necessary. I mean, they are accepted, but certainly not required. I mean, the reality is, I'm here. I look at it this way. I've allotted the 2 hours a day because usually by the end of the 2 hours, my throat starts to seize up. I appreciate that there, Joe. At least I'm assuming I actually don't know if I'm Uncle Keith. I get called so many things in my life. And some of them, like I said, some of them are polite. But here's the thing. I'm looking at my life the way it is right now, and like I told my brothers, yes, I've got to get things straightened out, but the reality of it is this. Okay, I'm not interested in giving up what I've already got if I can avoid it. Now, I may well eventually get rid of the car I just bought because I'm driving less and less. And if push comes to shove, I'm really not too much attached to it. But at the moment, it's working. And so for the next 3-4 months, I'll sit on it. However, as I'm starting to get the books moving, like I said, a week and a half, and I've sold more books than the companies I hired to do it 5 years ago have sold in the 5 years. This is the thing that throws me for a loop. I'm looking at it going, I told myself for years, I don't know how to market. Well, apparently I'm working it out. Okay. And I will tell you, this whole thing, I'm seeing this across the board with a lot of people. Now let's see, I've got Ghost there. What is, we are on I know I wrote that one down. See, I'm going to put it to you this way. Okay. And let's do it this. I wonder if there's a way that I can figure out, and I don't know if there is. But you guys have heard a number of the different topics that have been suggested. Okay, tomorrow's Saturday, so I will pick one of these, or if somebody's got one they really like. Nope, sorry, tomorrow's already taken. Tomorrow's already goes. And Sunday we will go with open. Simply because, like I said, I game Sunday morning until 3 o'clock. If I just go with open, I don't have to organize anything. Talk about a lazy, self-serving way of doing things, isn't it? So that answered that question in a hurry. Now remember, even when I'm talking about this sort of thing, if you've got a question in any field at all, doesn't matter what it is, put it in all caps. If you'd be so kind. It's like waving your hand and saying, hey, I got a question for you. I actually don't mind the 62. It was actually I think the 1963 had the split back window. I did, however, like the 1957 Chevy. I believe that it was a 57 Chevy with the great big tail wings. The vehicles back then were made with a certain amount of class. No, I'm more likely to have a cat. The reality of it is, Joe, that I can get along with dogs. I can talk to them, but I really don't connect with them very well. The best animal I ever connected with, I would love to have one, but I don't have a permit for it, and the cost of raising them is just astronomical. But the one animal that I got to pet, I did actually meet Farley Moed's wolf. But the one that really caught my attention was the Black Panther I got to pet. Full-grown adult Black Panther. And I mean, that ultimately was a riot. And I'll tell you, if you think a cat purrs loud, you should feel the reverberation in a Black Panther. And this thing had to be close to 300 pounds. Okay, I mean, the thing was stretched out from along a 7-foot couch. Okay, and he just absolutely dwarfed the couch. When I first saw him, I thought he was a stuffed animal. Right, until he sat up and opened his eyes. The neat part about it, It's funny. I was walking by the income tax place a couple of days ago, and I wasn't going in there. I had no interest in going in to talk to them. I already had all my stuff done. But I'm walking by, and I have to go in and say hi to this one little chihuahua because he always runs out to say hello. Yeah, I suggest you have one that's somewhat tame. They are a beautiful animal. Kimberly, wolves are beautiful animals, and they are gentle. The problem is that they scare the daylights out of most people. Yeah, question for you guys. How many days, how many days ahead do you figure is wise to actually to actually plan what I'm coming up, what topic we're going to focus on? I am not surprised by that, Kimberly. My guides are, well, I've got the Wolverine, the Black Panther, and the Raven. I don't know who the fourth one is, but the fourth one happens to be a water-based. This much I absolutely know. But exactly which, I'm an idiot. I really am on occasion. I'll show you what it is. It came to me a while ago, and it just never dawned on me why. But give me 5 seconds, I'm going to be back to show you something here. Only going to take me a minute. Yes, here I am, 60 years old. Okay. And this little guy sits on my bed. Like I said, everybody happens to be, everybody is a kid somewhere along the line. Okay. But, and I'm betting you can figure out what that is. Okay. But that is the water based I was telling you about. I'm sitting there going, why pray tell did this guy come to me? Well, the reason being, when I was growing up, I used to consider myself a freak of nature as in a bad thing. Okay. And then it dawned on me, that yes, there's no question I'm a freak of nature. But this little guy is why. Okay, and yeah, I realize 60 years old, what am I doing with a stuffy? Well, I've got a stuffed platypus, I've got a stuffed tapir, right? I like the ones that, and of course, I've also got a stuffed hedgehog. But that is the water based. I've been trying to figure out what the heck and which one it was. What do we got here? Well, I've got friends that are merman. Yeah, okay. Thank you so much there, Joe. Joe's just saying, I'm just looking back through a couple of things here. He's saying the 55 Chevy had no tail fins. The 57 Chevy had the big fins. No, I will tell you, when I met Farley Mowat's wolf, I was in kindergarten, and I was barely able to see over its shoulder when it was sitting down. But was it ever a handful, an armful? If you think huskies or that sort of dogs have really nice fur, you should try a wolf. Okay. All in all, this is where we start looking at the way our world. Somebody's getting pizza and they didn't leave me any. That might have something to do with the fact I didn't order them. But around here, and it's way too expensive. If you ask me, if you're getting 2 large pizzas and that's it, and they're charging $60, $60 for the pizza, there's a problem with the price. Okay. You can get them for a sixth of the price at the store if you really want them. Joe's just going, I once got to wrestle with a very playful Irish wolfhound. Yeah, you do realize there, Joe, that wolfhounds aren't exactly dogs. They're more like a fuzzy horse, kind of like the Bouvier I used to have. But again, it boils down to one little detail. It's time we seriously take a look at things and go, how can we work with these? Dogs are simply four-legged fuzzy kids. Really big kids in the case of an Irish wolfhound. Okay. Who do we got here? Hey, Lacey, how you doing? Glad you could join us. I do like pizza. The problem is I don't like the price of getting it. So what I'm going to have to do is actually pick it up at the store and cook it myself, I guess. I absolutely agree with you there, Joe. And all we got was that was $60. I didn't realize what it was going to cost until they rang it through. And that was only two 12-inch pizzas. For $60, that's just robbery. Now, needless to say, I'm not ordering from that company again. But we have a choice right here, right now, as to whether or not we're going to, no doubt. Lacey's just saying she doesn't buy any of that. Keep it simple because of crazy prices. And the prices are insane. I've only just started cooking. For the last 30 years, I barely turned my stove on. I turned the microwave oven on, but not the stove. And now I finally got to the point where I'm actually doing the stove thing. But it really boils down to having to change things because, well, let's face it, when you're dealing with limited income, you got to do something about it. And this is why I say, take a look at the goals you've got. Do you have a goal that you have not accomplished? And quite frankly, if you do, aside from accomplishing it, and let's assume, for instance, you desired to get a book printed by the time you were 25, and here you are 40, and you haven't got the book done. You're not going to get it done by the time you're 25, but this does not mean you cannot get it printed. Okay, now, right now, I've already got 3 of them. I think what I'll do either tonight or tomorrow is start really pushing the issue of this one. Okay, and this one is admittedly because of what it cost me to move it. Okay, that's the birth of the wolf pack. That is the beginning of the culmination of my life's work in this writing. Okay, so that's the next one. That one is the next one I'm going to be dealing with. So I will post that, of course, through my social media. I will ask you ahead of time, guys, if you would be kind enough to copy and paste it or to forward it, to repost it, however you want to do it, but to share the daylights out of it. The more visibility I have, the marketing people did absolutely jack for me. And at this point, I have to look at the reality that that's where my most viable income is. Joe's going, when I was a kid, my mom would send me to the store with $2. I'd buy a loaf of bread, a half-gallon milk, a box of Cheerios, and 3 Sinclair bars. They didn't have security cameras. Well, and $2 now won't buy a loaf of bread, never mind buying the box of cereal. Any one of those individuals isn't going to happen. Not in today's world. I would love if it did. I'm lucky though. I live in an apartment, and for some reason, I will pull in anywhere from $50 to $100 worth of groceries based on what I call lobby shopping. for whatever reason, people tend to put it in the lobby. I'm thinking, food I can put to use really quick. Okay, so this is one of those things where we take a look at it and go, how do we make this happen? Well, we have to start really looking at things and going, how are we going to turn this world into a positive outcome? Well, it's not going to come by just wishful thinking. You know that thing that most of you have been told, that thinking about doing something is as good as doing it? Well, I'm here to tell you that is not entirely the accurate way of putting it. You know, from a realistic standpoint, it doesn't work quite that well. Hey, Lunar, how you doing? Glad you could join us. You know, I hope your day has been going well. You know, things got started a little screwy for me. I slept in a little longer than normal. Come out of a dead sleep at like 7 o'clock in the morning, going, or 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock, yeah, 6 o'clock in the morning, wide open. And it's like, holy mackerel, I'm lazy. You know, I'm late because usually I'm up at like 2 or 3 in the morning. Not a good idea, by the way. You know, what do we got here? Yeah, I'm just looking at this. Luna's going 5-finger discount and spam. I spend a lot of time going, like I was spending a lot of time trying to figure things out. Now I just go in, glance and see what spam is there on it, like first thing in the morning, and periodically through the day and go, not going to happen. On the other hand, there's that other type of spam, and I swear by this stuff. You know, it's called luncheon meat. It's called spam. There's a few other types of it. Right, but canned meat works really well. We used to fry it along with eggs and call that breakfast. You know, toast, eggs, and spam. You know, it was inexpensive and it still is. Because if you think about it, I can take a can of spam and I can cut it into usually eight or 10 slices. You know, like good solid slices. And it only cost me $2. Right, you eat two at a meal. Well, you're dealing with, if it costs you two, you're looking at 40 cents for the meal, as compared to going to the store and paying $15 for, or going to the restaurant, which is where I spent a staggering amount of money. Okay, you go to the restaurant, you spend $15 for a couple of eggs, couple of pieces of toast, you know, and very little else, hash browns, that sort of thing. Well, I will tell you, at this point, I'm changing things a whole lot to bring that under control. And that's just the way we have to do it. And again, it really boils down to every single person. I love it, Joe. This will make you feel a little better, but I know of another kid that used to have, and they used to voluntarily do the same thing. Okay. But yeah, that's one of those things that you'll remember. And quite frankly, a lot of us may well. Hey Nathan, glad you could join us. Yeah, I mean, thank you so much for sharing that with us, Joe. It's one of those things that definitely brings a smile to many people's face. You may shrink in cringe and horror at the thought of it, yourself. But I'm certainly not laughing at you. I do feel it's one of those things that, here's the thing. When I was a kid, I used to play Barbie dolls with my little sister. And I didn't play a whole lot in the way of cops and robbers, but I certainly played with dolls. Not quite. No, I was just looking at that. Yeah. Maybe I did. I think I did there, Joe. So I'm just going to go back up. Oh, no, that one I caught. That's what I was saying. That $2 there, Joe. You go to the store with $2, you buy that whole list. Loaf of bread, the milk, the box of Cheerios, 3 Snickers bars, and you do that with $2. Well, the sad part about it is that nowadays you go to the store with $2, you're not getting any one of those items. Well, you might get the Snickers bar. Go all the way down here. I'm just looking at this, and I gotta ask you, Dogface, because I don't see Tina D, and I can only presume at this point that that's a female. But I'm a mom. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, that's why. I mean, I have no doubt you've had an interesting life there, Joe. I mean, it's weird. I compare my life more to science fiction than anything else. What's this? Yeah. Yeah, isn't it neat? They call it a dollar store or a Dollar Tree. And very little of it is actually only $1 anymore. Once in a while you'll find something. Yeah, in all fairness there, yeah, and see, I don't know who Tina is, but let's face it, I don't know that many people. One of the drawbacks of becoming reclusive is you stay, you hide from the world and you really do disconnect a lot. On the other hand, by my doing that, my stress level came down. Hard to believe, but I didn't have a heart attack this weekend. Kind of a nice little change. But yeah, I've got a list now, and I will be picking off it. But what I was asking a little earlier, okay, what I was asking a little earlier is, in your guys' opinion, because I've got a whole list of topics now, but in your guys' opinion, how far ahead do you feel it would be best to say, this is what the topic's going to be? Because I know telling people at the last minute is not as conducive for drawing people to pay attention or to participate for that matter. I'm just looking at this. What do we got here? Because from my standpoint, I've been working at figuring out what the best way. Thank you so much, Sir Nathan. Speaking of which, oh, wait a minute. Today is. I know somebody's got a show coming up tonight. Yeah, I've been thinking of that, Pat. That being said, because for the last 8 years, I've left that one alone altogether. Okay. Primarily because out of respect for Dave, I've left that on his docket, right? Because there's no way I really want to compete head to head with him. But taking a look at it and picking one race to really go into a little more detail, is not entirely a bad move. Okay, especially given that there are so many races out there again that we can deal with. Okay, but no, that's why I haven't tangled with, okie doke. You take care, Kira. Have a safe trip home, eh? You know, no, I have tended to leave, like, and there are certain areas that if I get on to other shows, I will, if I end up on a different show on a regular basis, then I will probably, tap out on one because I've got so many different topics I can look at right now. Not the least of which is some of the technologies I know of. Now, of course, the drawback from my end is I can see these different topics. Okay. Holy mackerel. Do you realize we've got 19 people in the chat room right now? Okay. I mean, it's just phenomenal in my eyes. But yeah, I mean, it suggests here, Nathan was just saying 2 or 3 days. So if I look at that, I think I've got what is tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday. So the only one I'm looking at there, is what to do with Monday. And I got a fair chunk of different things to look at here. But I think if we're going to deal with ghosts, why don't we do that on Monday? Okay. On Monday, we will walk through it one step at a time regarding this whole concept. And let me write that down before I get myself too terribly lost. Monday being, what is Monday? Open Monday. And we do that for the law of attraction and explain how that actually works and why. And there we have 3 days. Okay, but I think that's an excellent way of doing it. But without that in mind, what do we got here? Yeah, it really is amazing from that standpoint. Now, we are hitting the 2-hour mark here, guys. So with that in mind, again, if you like the video, if you like the stream, do give us a thumbs up, do subscribe to the channel, and please share the daylights out of it. We've got to get this message out to the world that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Okay, now I will be back again tomorrow. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.